Now flash forward to my son. My son was 49, and he found out he had cancer in his kidney. And he says, Mama, I want to come home because you and Papa know all about death and dying, and I want to be with you. You took care of Grandma and Grandpa and Nana. He says, I saw you. Will you take care of me? I said, yes, baby, come home. So our den became his room, and we have sliding doors. He could see the den, the bamboo. So every day I'd ask him, so what's going on? Were you dreaming about anything? And at first he was agitated. I hear things. I don't. He was a little like afraid. I says, oh, it's okay. It's okay. I says, you're going to hear voices. You're going to see things. They're not clear, but in days they will be. So then I says, the next day I would ask him, okay, so what do you see now? Grandma's here, Grandpa's there. They never leave me. I said, oh, baby, they never will. They've missed you. He says, yeah, Grandpa says he missed me. And he says, and Mom, I see trees. And I said, you see trees? He says, yeah, and they make like a papery sound. I says, oh, those are cottonwoods. Do you remember Grandma had those planted out in Anza, by Anza Borrego, at their home out there? She had Grandpa build a whole row of those because she said that on the sound of those papery leaves, you can hear the spirits speak to you. She always had those there. That's what you're hearing. I said, you mean to tell me that they're in Anza? They left and they went to Anza. I said, well, you're going to go there. You're going to work. He says, I'm ready. I said, okay. So each day we talk. One day I talked to him. He says, I see people I don't know. And I says, baby, I said, those are all the people you've known before in past lives. I says, you're going to get to see them again. The people who have left that you know from this world. I said, but other lives you've had. And he says, okay. And so he saw things, he heard things. And I told him the last few days he was breathing a little differently. He was a little weaker. He'd wake up, we'd talk for a bit, he'd go to sleep. And I says, baby, I said, the last thing you're going to do is you're going to smell heaven, and then you'll know you're almost there. Okay, so I held his hand and I would talk to him. And then I knew it was towards the end. I had my stethoscope to his chest, and then he opened up his eyes wide. He had been like out, not making a move, nothing, breathing shallow. He turned, he looked at me, his eyes got so wide. He says, Mama, Mama, I smell it. I smell it. I said, oh, baby, you're almost there. You're almost there. It's okay. Relax. So he did. And I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just kept listening to his heart until he took his last heartbeat. And then he was gone. And then when I worked at county, you would float to different units, like the ED or other parts. And guys would come in with gunshot wounds, stab wounds, dying. And their mothers would come. And the minute they knew that their son died, they would grab their abdomen and bend over, just howling, screaming, crying. And I did the same thing. I held my abdomen and I cried. I felt kind of like I was out of my body, hearing me. I felt sounds, oh, sounds. And what people don't understand is when you have a son, part of their embryonic cells reside in you. They stay in you. You carry a bit of them, which is why you have this visceral connection. When my youngest son moved up to San Francisco, sometimes I'd feel like, is everything okay? Is everything okay? Then I'd call him, I'd say, baby, what are you doing? Why are you, Mom, are you having one of your feelings? And I'd say, yes. He said, no, I'm just really excited because I'm here at this concert and it's really rocking. I said, okay, have fun. All right. So you have that connection. And it's like afterbirth pains. After you have a baby, you still kind of have a few contractions. I had those for over a week. But I didn't mind because it was still part of my baby. My baby left me. So that was a hard time for Frank and I. Each hard time, it didn't make us grow apart. It brought us closer. Right now, we're so close. I can read his mind. He can read mine. He always holds my hand wherever we go. And I always say, you hold my hand like a gear shift. Because I'm looking, Louie, no, look at that. And all of a sudden I'll hear, like I'm supposed to go this way, or we're going that way, or whatever. Slow down or watch out. And we talk about our son, And I said, he's with us all the time. And I feel him every once in a while. He would stand behind me and put his hands on my shoulders. He was taller than me. And then he'd nuzzle my neck. And he'd say, mommy smell. And I'd say, stop it. But I can feel him hold on to me here. And he just squeezes, and it's like, whoosh, love, love.
How did that impact him?
My husband goes inside and he also cried. I mean, it hurt him. But I'm kind of the mouthpiece. So I'll talk and I'll ask him, how did you feel about this? And it hurt him. It still hurts him. It hurts us both.
Of course.
Because sometimes I'll say, damn, I wish he was still here. Remember this, remember that. Or we'll look through pictures. Right now we've been purging. We're in our 70s and we think, when we die, who wants to go through all our stuff? This is my brain. This room is my brain. I said, who's going to want all this stuff? They're probably going to trash it all. Well, that's okay. But we now are kind of in this joy mode where we do things that we would do maybe when we were younger. Why don't we go do this or that? Okay, let's go do it. But just being together, doing errands. Okay, what errands we have to go to Home Depot. We got to go to Target. Oh my God, two of our favorite places. I says, you're of that generation where you get all excited because you're going to Target or Home Depot.
Or
what
Costco.
Do we need? Or Costco. We don't go to Costco. We don't buy in bulk like that anymore. Okay. Yeah. He's very Italian and he cooks. He does a lot of the cooking and he cooks everything fresh every day.
Oh, that's nice.
He doesn't like anything frozen, so it's always fresh. We eat a lot of Mediterranean. That's how we eat. So yeah. But so if anything, all of this, the losses of our loved ones, either physically or metaphorically, and especially the death of our son, and I'm winding down on my career. Those are little deaths, but some it's okay, and most of them you have to be okay with. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here now and living your full life. We find joy in things, and I think that's a secret to growing older. Some people who'll say, oh, I don't like doing that anymore. Okay, well, find something that you do like to do. Sure. Find something that brings you joy. Find something that connects you to your inner child. Mine is art. So that I'm gluing things together, doing pastels, painting. I don't care that it's not perfect. I'm not being an artist to sell stuff. I'm doing it to find joy for myself. So I do assemblage where you get found objects and you create something. So, just whatever it is that calls to you. I call working as a nurse, that's part of an art and a science. Because you have to know the science behind it to be a good nurse, to save your patients, to work with your patients, to understand. But you also have to have that art that allows you to listen to your patient's story, to recognize when they're hurting on a different level that doesn't require a pill, a patch, a ring, an injection. It's talking story. And just saying, tell me about your story. Tell me about when you used to work. What did you do? And they get lost in that moment, in that memory. And that's better than any pill.
You're living those moments, yeah.
Yes. But some people now, younger kids, I see, they don't really, oh no, I don't want to go spend time with the old people, my grandparents. Or they talk about the old days. Listen to that. It's golden. It's golden. I wish I'd give anything to hear stories my mom would tell me again. And sometimes I repeat them for my husband. Remember when my mom told us the story about, because for my mom, whenever you did anything bad, she'd tell you a story of what happened to the little boy or little girl that did that. And you know what? Kind of thing. Yeah. So that's kind of, that's been the most challenging thing, I think, in our world. Did we ever get really to the point where...
I don't think there's anything would be more challenging than losing your son. I don't think that's possible.
I think death makes or breaks a couple. Yeah. There's some people who just break down and they don't talk about it and they both go into their little silos.
I think that's when the depression takes over.
Yes.
And you can't get over it. Then, sometimes that breaks it.
And the thing is, too, I'm a firm believer in therapy. So we've gone to couples therapy. Early on when we were not agreeing on a lot of stuff, we went to therapy and that was fantastic to learn how to communicate. And when I found myself, when I was grieving and it was hard for me and I have to function and I can't just start crying anywhere, I went back to therapy. And that was it was last year. Yeah, last year.
Okay.
And I was really fortunate enough to find a therapist that says, I'll work with you.
When did your son pass away?
It'll be 6 years this April.
6 years. Oh.
In April the 28th.
6 years. So COVID.
Yeah. Okay. COVID was, yeah. But he didn't have COVID. He just, had the
That's,
other. Yeah. So that made it
yeah.
difficult too because he was in our home, but it wasn't like a lot of people could come.
Mm-hmm.
We're really blessed. Our next door neighbors, I always say they're like our second family. They're Chinese, but they're just the best. And Amy, I tell her, I said, you've kind of become my surrogate daughter. She wanted to be a nurse. She came over one day and she said, I want to be a nurse. I said, okay, here's a pad of paper and a pencil. Remember, no whining. So she wrote down everything she had to do, and God love her, she's done it all. And last thing is she has to get her doctorate. I said, oh, that's easy peasy. I'll help you through that. You can do that. She's teaching. She sees patients at Arcadia Keck. And her family was really there for us when that was happening and would come over and help if they could. But it was, it still affects us. But I know where he is. I know what he's doing, and he's happy. And I know I'm going to see him. His is going to be the first face I see when I make my voyage there. Yeah.
Hopefully, that's going to be a long time for
you. Uh-huh. So anyway, Valentine's Day is coming up. It's going to be 56 years. So we always go to the chop house and have our steaks. He has every a porterhouse every year. He has
good
a porter.
Good thing still open. Good thing they have good business.
Yep. He gets a porterhouse. I get a ribeye. We never finish everything. I says, we're such old people now. We take it and it's dinner for 3 nights afterwards as well. But we sit and we say, okay, we want to keep doing this? Yep. And then we exchange cards. Because what gift do you give? I don't need anything. Nothing. Okay. Name it. I need nothing. So it's always a card. So we always, end up crying because he gives me such a great card and he likes my card that I give him. And yeah.
I didn't know Chop House open for 56 years.
Well, no, we haven't been going there for 56 years. Okay. Oh, yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you guys went.
Like, no. We've gone to other. We've gone to other steakhouses and stuff, but Chop House was our favorite.
I see.
And that was
Was it open back then?
I don't know when it opened. Okay. How long it's been open. So, 56 years of marriage. I'm trying to wrap my mind around that, as is my husband. And when we both think about it, when I think about it, we both go back to that summer night we met and how our fates were sealed at that moment. For me, for him, it took a while longer. But that was the point in time where my whole world shifted, changed in a way I couldn't have even projected. And now that we're at 56 years, we find ourselves going back to see, how did we make it? How do we stick together when other people we know did not? What was it that was different about us? And we both come up with, we loved one another. That was the foundation. We forgave one another. We understood what each of us was saying at different times. And we were willing to talk. We talked a lot about our relationship. Again, I go back to cars. People take care of their cars better than they do sometimes their relationships. And so you need to treat that relationship like something golden to you, something precious to you. It is. And you need to nurture it. You need to spend time with it. And not be afraid to ask the questions. Not be afraid to love. Not be afraid to share your deepest thoughts, even though you may think, oh, this is crazy, and I don't know that I should really say this because saying it gives it energy. No. Say it. Express it. That's how you get to know one another. All those layers over the years. If you continue that, and that's the common thread we have had throughout. We love one another fiercely. And I think it was that little boy in him and that little girl in me that fell in love. And we're still like kids. Someone told us that you two are like a couple of kids. But we still find joy in one another. And we still love holding hands. We love being with each other. If we had a choice to be with anyone, I choose to be with him and he with me. Whether it's going to Home Depot or going out to some big celebration.
Yeah, not Costco.
Not Costco. Kidding, I know, yeah. And it's just because we don't buy groceries like that anymore. We eat like birdies. Yeah. But I think it's love, compassion, communication, and being willing to change your mind. You could be stuck on it, but I want this and this is what I want. It doesn't matter if it's a color of a wall, but if it's something bigger in your lives, you really have to come to some middle ground and talk about why this would be better or that would be better, or um, and yeah, that's I think it starts off with love. And again, if you nurture it, just like any plant you nurture it, it's going to grow. It's going to be a big tree. It's going to be strong. So you need to nurture your love. You can't just expect it to be there sitting on the shelf for you when you decide to go to it. You have to nurture it.